All right, coders, I'm going to work out this problem for you. It's been a little bit since we've done 2D arrays. Make sure I'm not solving the actual problem. Good. All right, so we're not changing this code, but I'm asking you to write 3 methods right here. One called randomize. It stores random integers from 0 to 9 inclusive in all elements of any sized 2D array. Print with averages prints any 2D array and prints the average at the end of each row to the right, kind of like this. Here's the row and here's the average. And then ascending check, it prints spaces and plus signs underneath everything, all lined up so that we can see any column where all the items are ascending. And I defined ascending meaning each element is greater than or equal to the previous row's element. Say 4, 6, 7 is ascending, but 5, 6, 3 is not because 3 is less than 6. 6, 8, 9 is. 6, 9, 9 is because that's greater than or equal to. Same with 4, 4, 5, and 0, 0, 3, and 5, 7, 7. That's why we got plus signs under them. So let's go ahead and write this. So I said it's got to work with any size, so you can't assume it's a 3 by 20. We're going to do 2 for loops, and I strongly recommend you just use R for rows. And the number of rows is grid.length, whatever the array name is. And then we're going to do columns. So int C equals 0, C is less than, and to get the number of columns, you go grid 0 dot length. Okay, and then in here, we're going to just store a random value in each element. So we're going to say grid row column equals integer math.random times 10. So that gives us a number from 0 to 9. So that's part 1. Part 2, print with averages. I'm going to copy this for loop arrangement and paste it in here because that'll be real handy. We want to print each element. We don't want to store a new number in it. But we can system.out.print grid plus a space. It'll print them all out. And then at the end of each row, this is right here is the end of a row. We want to print the word average, system.out.print space AVE plus, and then I'm going to put empty parens there. We're going to calculate the average right there for that whole row. And to do that, we have to think back what we're talking about here. For any given row, then we're going to go through all the columns in the row. So right here, I'm going to say int total equals 0. And then right as we're printing it, I'm going to say total plus equals grid RC. So that's adding each column's value to the total. And then right here, we can print the average. I want it as a double, 1.0 times total divided by, and we need grid 0 dot length. That's how many items were in that. And we can already run this because my test code calls these methods. And this, I forgot, this should be a print ln, and that'll make it pretty because that's the end of each row, right? So the numbers will be different every time, but it will be 3 by 20. And then you're going to have a decimal number over there. And so that's part 1 and part 2. You could pause right now and you can see the complete part 1 and the complete part 2. And then the last thing we're going to do is print plus signs under any column where the numbers are ascending. And I defined ascending as each row is greater than or equal to the previous row. So I see one here, 199 is ascending, and then there's usually other ones, but there's no guarantee there'll be any because these are random numbers. So for this, we don't want to copy our previous code because that would be backwards. For this, we have to go by columns. So we're going to do a for loop of columns first. Int c equals 0. By the way, if you were stuck and you didn't think of that, you could pause this video now and see if you can figure out how to do this by doing the column for loop first. It'd be good practice. All right, we're going to go through the columns, one column at a time. And inside the column, we're going to go through the rows, starting with row 1, not row 0, because we're going to be checking row 1 and comparing it to the previous row. But before that, since we have to print something either way, I'm going to make a Boolean variable called ascending, and I'm going to make it equal to true. And then we're going to do the row. So for int r equals 1, I told you we're going to start at row 1 because we're going to check the current row against the previous row. R less than grid.length, r plus plus. Now we're going to say if grid row column is less than grid row minus 1 column. That means if the current one is less than the previous one, that means it's not ascending. So then we're going to say ascending equals false. So it's like a flag variable. We're setting it true. Then we're going to check all the columns. And then if it finds a pair of numbers that are not in the right order, it says false. So then right here, now we're done checking a column. We're going to say if ascending, then system.out.print without the ln. If it's ascending, we're going to print a plus and a space. Else, system.out.print, we're printing 2 spaces because that's basically printing nothing underneath the column. It's not ascending. And then I'm going to put system.out.println here. Just that's after the whole thing, so it goes to a new line. So we'll have different numbers than we did last time, but this should print a little plus sign under everything. And let's verify. See, 520, that's not ascending, but 117 is, 224 is, 239 is, 169 is. And all these others are not, like 7, 5, 8. 5 and 8 are ascending, but 7 is bigger than 5. So let's run it again. And yeah, they look good still. With 20 columns, I've almost always ended up with something ascending. I'm sure it's possible to get it to not work that way. But now here's my challenge to you. If you just basically copied my code and followed along and you had no idea how to do this, then you have homework. You should do this again tomorrow without looking at the video. Just go back in here and do it again. And if you need me to pat you on the back, send me an email, say, Mr. Hayes, I did it again and it made more sense the next day. And I'll reply to you over spring break and say, good job, I'm proud of you. This is just one of the free services that I offer to my students. All right, good luck.